I've always had a passion for horses since a very young age. Although my journey properly started when I was 8 years old, I decided to take up riding lessons at a local riding school. I don't have many pictures from this time, but I remember two of my favourite horses were a grey mare called Calico and a tricolour gelding called James. This place taught me the basics of riding, including walk, trot and canter transitions. I also had my first fall here off a cheeky gelding called Scrumpy. Also, I joined their little pony club, so I volunteered and was also taught how to look after the horses. Eventually, I got to a point where I felt like I needed to develop more, so I decided to move riding schools after 4 years of being there. I joined a new riding school just before I turned 13, where I started to ride more variety of horses. I also had my first jumping lessons at this school and instantly loved it. One of the first ponies that I rode was a cob named Bob. He was one of my favourites and I went through a phase of riding him every single week. He was so cheeky, he'd throw a buck in now and again and he'd often refuse jumps every so often too, but he was a great teacher and taught me to sit back quite a lot. I'm still to this day proud that I never became one of Bob's victims in a lesson. He never quite managed to get me on the floor while he was there. As I continued to develop, I began to ride a wider range of larger horses and I also started to volunteer there too. I met some of my best friends there and we often used to ride a lot together too. I started to ride off the track thoroughbreds, larger cobs, and I even rode some ponies bareback too. I had a couple of silly falls at this place, but none of them were serious. Another horse that became one of my favourites and that I went through a phase of riding every week was a bay gelding named Saxon. He was such a sweet horse and gave me so much confidence, especially when jumping. In summer we did some show jumping courses and I used to fly through them. Although when he came to flat work he was more on the lazy side. I was also lucky enough to have my first cross-country lessons there too, on a gelding named Casper. I spent over 4 years there until it sadly came to an end. The riding school closed, the horses were sold, and all we had left were the amazing memories. After its closure, I was lucky enough to find someone who needed their horse riding. She was sort of like a part loan, although I didn't have to pay for it. I used to just help look after her and the other horses in the herd. She was called Mia and she was a 17-hand sport horse. She was so sweet and the first few weeks I just spent getting to know her and long reining her. I finally sat on her for the first time. She was very green and napped quite a lot, however we broke through this barrier and eventually I had her cantering. I didn't really care that she wasn't in an outline or if I looked messy riding her. She'd been out of work for 3 years, so this didn't matter to me at this point. Unfortunately, a few days before my 18th birthday, she began to become stubborn and refused to work for me by dangerously rearing. I had 2 falls from her in a single lesson, which knocked my confidence quite a lot. I decided that despite her sweet nature, she needed someone who could work her every single day and not be afraid of her tendencies to rear. On the 31st of December 2017, I was accepted for a trial day at a popular livery and competition yard owned by a top-class eventer. I was so excited as I thought I'd have the chance to work with some amazing world-class eventing horses. However, this didn't actually go to plan. While hacking one of the dressage horses, he was a 16-hand high grey gelding. Something spooked him and he completely took off and bolted with me. There was just no stopping him. I lost my balance and took a very nasty fall. I was sent to A&E with lots of cuts and bruises and some concussion, along with a hole in my chin, although I was quite lucky not to have broken anything. I'm about to show some graphic pictures, so please feel free to skip if you don't like to see injuries. My chin was in plaster for around a week, and here's just how it looked once the new skin had begun to grow back again. This fall took so much confidence away from me, and a year later it still hasn't actually come back. I decided working with eventers wasn't for me, so in February to October this year I worked at a livery yard looking after a wide variety of horses and ponies. To get my confidence back, I also started to ride a grey Connemara mare named Mia. She was so lovely and made me feel very safe. At the livery yard, I was given various lessons on cobs and schoolmasters. One of the horses that I rode on a regular basis was a mare named Lexi. She was very strong, although never silly, which gave me confidence in her. I decided in October that working with horses full-time wasn't the right career pathway for me, so I just made the decision to leave. However, just before my 19th birthday, I started to ride one of the horses where I previously worked. She's a lovely mare named Rosie and has such a sweet nature. I fit riding around my current job and can't wait to share the future of my journey.